Welcome back to more Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Last time, we defeated King Dedede, but he captured Elfilin. This time, we have to rescue our new friend by heading to a new area. So our next stage is in a new continent of sorts. So to actually get there, we basically have to use this warp point at the end of Winterhorns. So our first stage of the Originull Wasteland is the wastes where life began. So this is a very different area than where we just were, a desolate wasteland. The music definitely matches the more intense atmosphere. This is definitely when the game is starting to get a little bit more serious. It's actually kind of a weird atmospheric shift, also because we don't have any active, companion character with us, since Elfilin is gone for the time being. We have these little gems. Obviously we want to collect them because typically they give us something good. So yeah, we don't have the little conversations between stages, so it ends up feeling a little bit more isolated at this point. I mean, obviously we still have all the Wild D's to save, and we can always go back to town whenever we want, but it does feel a little bit different. There's a floating target over there, so did I mess this up? Because I actually need Ranger, but I think I defeated the enemy that would give us Ranger. Oh good, they're back. So we do want Ranger or some equivalent because we need to break the targets. This is part of a mission, so let's charge up and break this and see what this is. This also gives us a star coin, but we have to shoot 3 flying targets. Not too bad. And this is actually a weird mission or a weird stage because I'm pretty sure each mission is in the same place, which doesn't usually happen. Yeah, to my knowledge, they're all in this first area. So that's for another gem that we need to collect. Basically, these form a star. So yeah, we need to figure out what this does. We have these little enemies that will try to eat Kirby. I'm trying to remember where they first appeared. I want to say they might have originated from Kirby, one of the lesser-known games, like Dreamland 3, but that may be wrong. I think they might also be in Return to Dreamland. To be honest, a lot of Kirby games I don't really go back to very often, so I'm a little bit shaky on the details of what enemies are occurring. Either way, it feels like it's been a while since those enemy types have actually appeared in the series, but again, it might not actually be that long if it was just Return to Dreamland. Still, actually, Return to Dreamland was a while ago, if you think about it. That was on the Wii in, 2011. It doesn't feel like that long at times, but it actually has been a while. So we have to do a very specific set of platforming to get the Ringmouth transformation up to this fight against Florina. Luckily, with a mouthful mode transformation, mini-bosses are kind of a joke. Yeah, this is not a fair fight, really. But there we go. Defeat Florina using Ringmouth. Sadly, I don't actually want Tornado. Normally I would want Tornado, but for this specific circumstance, because we have to hit targets, we can't swap over yet. Maybe later we will. You're definitely intended to get this one last, to be honest. But since I had the Ringmouth, I figured I might as well go for this now. You got the Crystal Needle blueprint. Now you can evolve the Needle ability. Take it to Wild D's weapons shop. Alright, so we have the third form of Needle. Needle's not a power-up I use very often, so I haven't really felt the need to I haven't really felt the need to upgrade a lot of abilities, if I'm being honest, just because I tend to just stick with a small handful and then use the base variants whenever a specific puzzle comes up. Also, we still need one more target, and to be perfectly honest, I'm actively trying to remember where it is. Once we get this, though, we don't really need to worry for a bit. This is our last major thing in this area, other than, obviously, we'll have to keep an eye out for Waddle Dees in future parts of the stage. But yeah, it is actually weird having all of the objectives just kind of clustered in this one zone of the stage. Alright, so this should be the last gem that we need, or crystal part, star part maybe. I don't know if these have an official name. Either way, let's collect it and see what happens. So that opens the path to the Waddle Dee to rescue them. But we can, we can't rescue them right away because we still need to look around a bit here to figure out where that last target is. They're actually really well hidden. I know the one near the pillars is intended to be like the last one you find, so it's like between this spot where the first one was and where the pillars were. But actually I don't remember the exact specific location. By the way, you have camera control. It's not like super robust, but it is a little bit helpful at times to actually be able to rotate the camera a little bit. Again, not a lot of range of movement. Defeat the Lost Squishy. I almost forgot about that one, actually. The Squishies are the little squid enemies, so there's one that's kind of out of place in the desert. It's kind of weird that the objective is to defeat it. It's just kind of minding its own business, really. In general, I feel like the sandstorm is not helping. Something up there, I don't think that's actually interactive, though. Yeah, it's kind of weird that this is a mission L I'm having a lot of trouble with, because I actually found them really effortlessly on my own time, but for some reason, like right now, I am having the hardest time remembering where this final target is. But once we get it, though, we can just kind of move on. And frankly, it's faster than actually trying to stop and play through the stage again. There it is, right in the corner. In general, even though, again, enemies tend to refresh at a lower frame rate at a distance, the draw distance itself is actually not bad. So even though that's really far away, it's still very much in sight, even if it's loading a little bit slowly. But there are the 3 flying targets. We defeated the Squishy, and we defeated Florina with Ringmouth. So I think we're good to go. So let's head over to the crashed ship over here and rescue the Waddle Dee that we saw earlier. Again, this is kind of a cool concept for like a desert stage. Like, it's not just a desert, it's like a civilization that's kind of dried up, basically. It reminds me of The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword with like the desert, Lanayru Desert, how it's like an abandoned facility. It's the same kind of energy, and I really like that, actually. Again, this game takes familiar level tropes and actually does some really cool things with them. Overall, it's actually really impressive how much they were able to make these themes feel very lively. I'm hoping there's only one Waddle Dee in there, that part of the stage, considering that was the first one, and it was near the end, so that would indicate that maybe there's not any others we have to worry about. I was hoping. We have a lot of falling pillars, overall not too bad. You have plenty of time to get out of the way, really. We also have a couple of pillars that aren't moving, because I think we actually need Ringmouth. I think it's too buried in the sand to actually fall on its own, so we have to actually clear it out first, and then get out of the way, because it will fall. Ow. We also have a treasure over here that we can unearth, like so, with a capsule. In general, the capsules are way better, in my opinion, than the keychains and the puzzle pieces, and I actually looked it up. Robobot had stickers, and you could actually put these stickers on the mech. So honestly, that was a pretty cool collectible, but in those games, basically specific collectibles were limited. Like, there were these special puzzle pieces that were only in a particular stage, there were like keychains that were only in one stage, and so on. So this works a little bit differently. Alright, so we're still Ringmouth. I don't know if this is a good choice or not, to be doing precarious platforming as Ringmouth Kirby, case in point. But it actually does look like we needed to carry this the entire way. So I made the right decision, even though it definitely made things a little bit tougher. I'm amazed there's no mission of like, don't get hit as Ringmouth, because that would honestly have been a very challenging mission to try to get. But I am thankful for that. So, if my count is correct, and if my memory is not failing me, which, let's be real, it might be, I think we're done here. This is kind of a weirdly short stage. Like, it's a really big open area, But in general, it actually feels like one of the shorter stages. Kind of a nice little intro to the desert area, not too challenging. Again, this is a Kirby game, it's not overly difficult, but we actually have a really cool view of our next stage. Alright, so yeah, we rescued all the wallabies of the stage. I think other stages do this too, and I haven't really noticed that one stage will kind of lead into the next visually at the end. Twirling Star Rocket. Gabon. Hammer. A sturdy hammer with intense attack power. Your reach is short, but it's worth it to bonk enemies and stakes. Hold the button to charge, then let go to do a hammer flip. Blue Star Coin. Alright, next up is another really interesting stage, Searching the Oasis. I feel like I had a very specific reaction to the stage, and I don't know if I'm the only one who thought of this. Well, like this sort of like hotel Oasis resort place, immediately made me think of Paper Mario the Origami King of all things. Like the overall setting, albeit this is a little bit less robust than that particular town, as this is definitely more abandoned. If it was closer to that, it would be more like a combination of Windaria and an Oasis resort. Definitely one of the more memorable set pieces of that game, if you ask me. We have a lot of poison around. Luckily, there's nothing about, like, don't step in poison, because, yeah, we would definitely fail that very easily, just because of how much there is. We also have these little lizards on the walls. I don't know if they... I don't think they're required for anything. They just kind of scurry off if you get too close, basically. We have a Gordo blocking a hidden path, and we have our first Waddle-Dee. But we're not done here. Sorry, Tornado, we're gonna have to say goodbye to you, because this is also where a secret mission is. We have all these little pool chairs, and we have a little Naughty here, so something special actually will happen if we use Sleep here. This is definitely one that I found by total accident and just kind of intuition. Take a nap by the secret pool. It's just one of those things where you see the sleeping enemy and you see all these chairs and you're just like, I wonder if this is a secret. I almost feel like, yeah, this is not one I knew about because the game didn't tell me. I just sort of was like, this seems really suspicious. I'm gonna try to see if something happens here, and there you go, it's a mission. I do feel like a lot of skill sets transfer with these types of games, like 3D platformers. A lot of times when you've played a lot of 3D platformers, like that was kind of the genre I favored for a really long time. You end up picking up like an intuition about where secrets could be. So we have these little spiky enemies. We have to dodge all of them. We have a Sir Kibble, and we don't have an ability right now, so let's actually pick up Cutter, or Chakram Cutter more specifically. Also, we can still perform Final Cutter in this form, by the way. You're not limited to, like, you know, most moves do carry over to some extent, like, basic movesets kind of apply to most character types, even with the upgrades, if that makes sense. So yeah, we still have access to specific abilities like that. We have a slightly sneaky treasure chest here. You got the Buzzsaw Cutter blueprint. Now you can evolve the Cutter ability. Take it to Waddle-Dee's weapons shop. I'll save my thoughts on that for later, but I feel like there are some cases where I actually prefer the second iteration to some of the later ones. And I think Chakram Cutter to Buzzsaw Cutter is actually one where I prefer the second tier. But again, I'll save my full thoughts on that for a later time. Our second Waddle Dee is right here on this little upper ledge. So we have a little thing over here that's being guarded by enemies, so that's not suspicious at all. Let's defeat them and see what this is. It looks to be another Dome Mouth transformation, revealing a little secret area here, like a reservoir. I do like how Kirby does have a little inner tube, instead of, having to worry about swimming underwater. I hope they find a way to integrate underwater gameplay into Kirby, or 3D Kirby at some point, but I do think it was a very smart call to not worry about underwater stuff for their first 3D Kirby game. Underwater gameplay tends to be very hit or miss, so I think playing it safe for this is definitely a good call. I think I almost missed that jump, actually. It felt close. I felt like I almost missed that, but we made it, and we found our next Waddle Dee. This should be number 3 of 5, so we have 2 more to go, and we can retry if we do need to. So next up, we're in an area with a bunch of these enemies and Drill. So let's swap over to Drill and see what we can find. So we have a healing item, not super helpful, and a bunch of poison. I don't think you can dig under the poison. Yeah, you actually will take damage. I'm not entirely sure how that works. I guess you're not digging that... you're still digging relatively close to the surface, so I guess it makes sense that you would still take damage. Like, you can see where we're digging. We're not that far down, so it makes sense that we take damage. But it's a little bit like... I'm not entirely sure how to feel about that, if I'm being honest. And with water, we can actually defeat these. Defeat 2 poison Crocums. So that is another mission. We actually need to defeat 2. So we have to keep an eye out for one more. First of all, though, we have this little secret passage here that we need to clear out, clear the poison out from in front of this little gate to find another secret. And here we have another mission. Obviously, we need to rescue another Waddle Dee, but there's a mission tied to this as well. Basically, the last dig spot on one of these platforms will have the crystal to open the door to the Waddle Dee. But you actually need to dig all of them for a mission. Believe it or not, this is a mission I actually messed up. Because I was like, I don't think I need to dig all these. There's a pattern. So I'm just going to skip a bunch of them. And I ended up messing myself up. I had to go through the stage again and do this whole cycle again. Because I tried to be hasty. Alright, so we got all of them. Diligent digging in the secret room, and here's our next Waddle Dee. Hopefully this is number 4. Yep, we're still on track for completion. Thank goodness. And luckily the poison still stays gone. The enemy doesn't respawn. It makes sense because there's a mission for defeating 2, so it makes sense that if you defeat one, it would stay defeated. Speaking of which, there's a last one, but the water pump is all the way down there. We need to find a way to bring it up to our level, our current level, and to do so, we have to basically go up here and hit the switch. So, with the water pipe up here, we can make our way over to the poison enemy and clean them up. I kind of feel like with the transformations, similar to the regular copy abilities, you end up seeing most of them pretty early on. Like, we haven't really gotten any new Mouthful Mode transformations, or frankly, copy abilities, in a long time. But it almost feels, again, like a quality versus quantity situation, in my opinion, where I feel like it's a good way to ease into the idea of a 3D Kirby, not, overloading the game with power-ups and then trying to figure out how to make that work. Just stick with a small core group of abilities and then iterate on them. So again, I'm a little bit torn on it because I would have liked to see specific abilities, but I think it was a generally good compromise. And with that, we have rescued another set of Waddle Dees. So far so good. Rental lockers. Car Mouth Kirby. Kirby gained the mysterious mouthful mode ability after he flew through that vortex. Now he can stuff an entire car into his mouth. When he does, he turns into peppy pink car that can jump and use turbo dash. It's a nice day for a scenic drive. Turn up the radio. Our next stage is a fun one, but I think it might take a bit of time. So let's actually head over to a previous area. Actually, I want to use the stage select, because I want to see how many we have in each place. So we've only done one in Windaria, so we should probably go there. So there are two hidden ones. We should probably look for those before we even worry about starting anymore. To tell the truth, I'm trying to remember where they actually are. One is here. You found a hidden portal to a treasure road. Let's see what's inside. And the other one, I don't know. Maybe in one of these pools of water? Yep, looks like it. Nope, not there. Here? You found a hidden portal to a treasure road. Let's see what's inside. The pipe mouth treasure is actually really difficult, so let's try it. Roll and jump. Pipe ramp path. So we have a target time of 40 seconds and a total time of 1 minute, which actually says a lot about how difficult this is. You have no leeway here. If you mess up, you might as well just hit retry, because it is incredibly strict, normally, even without going for the target time. Basically, all you have to do is jump when you need to, but that's easier said than done. This is actually challenging. This took me like 2 or 3 tries, because a lot of the jumps are very strict. Specifically as you get further on, it gets actually really tense, like right here. I am actually really happy getting that in one try. Again, that took me a couple attempts to even finish it, let alone getting the target time, which is kind of a given if you get a flawless run. You can actually try again if you fall. It'll like put you earlier in the stage, but that basically guarantees you won't get the target time. Next up, let's go through this one, the Ringmouth treasure. With gusto, turn the windmills. So I remember this one being a fun one. I actually don't remember how difficult it was, so I guess we'll find out. We have a target time of a minute, which isn't a lot of time, so try to kind of lead your shots with diagonals. Something I've actually not thought about is how diagonals work in this game. I know in Super Mario 3D World, as an example, you were limited to 8 directional movement, even though it's a 3D game, and it's partly because you're supposed to also use like a wide variety of controllers. But being a game where you can only use the analog stick, I actually haven't really paid attention to if you can use the, if it's like a full 360 in this game or not. It's something I never really thought to check, actually. I almost feel like it might still be 8-way, but I'd have to do more testing to try to ascertain. Wow, this one was actually really easy. We have like 10 seconds to spare. Sometimes you'll end up with a challenge that'll just be like, you have no leeway, and other times it'll be, you'll get one that's like, wow, you were 10 seconds ahead and still made a couple mistakes. So I think I want to try to get through one more for now, and I'm trying to figure out which one. Let's go with this one. Line them up, toss and return. So our target time was 45 seconds, I think? Oh, I see what we have to do here. This is basically testing our ability to use the charge up. Kind of like what we did in the haunted house stage. Basically setting up the blade and calling it back with proper timing. A very cool gimmick, actually. I'm actually not sure if you could do that with Cutter in the older games. Like actually set it up like that. How does this work? Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how this will work. I think that's better. Yeah, I definitely will not be getting target time this time, at this rate, but we can still try to go for the mission clear at least. I'm taking a lot of damage from the Sir Kibbles alone. Yeah, this is not a good run of this stage, to put it mildly. There we go, finally. Yeah, definitely not getting the target time, but we can at least finish the stage. Wow, that was easy. We were way off of that one. Oh well. Alright, so if I'm not mistaken, actually, we found enough Wild D's to open up something new in town. So once again, I think we'll start over at Wild D Town, and then resume our trek through the Originull Wasteland. So thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time for more Kirby and the Forgotten Land.